Hey guys, and welcome to my magical set. My really good friend is a window dresser, and these are some of the beautiful pieces that he's able to bring home with him. I'm so freaking jealous. So anyway, I'm staying here for a few days while I'm in New York City, and I was just like, please, you have got to let me film here. So I'm filming my Bachelorette review here tonight. I wish I could do all my reviews here, but you know, a sister is traveling, so I won't be here that much longer. But when I do come back, I'll make sure to do as many reviews here as I can. At the end of this review, I'll take some pictures and show you the beauty that I'm really standing in front of. You can't see the full thing, but let me tell you something. Stay tuned to the end of this review and your mind is going to be blown. Let's get into this review. Oh my gosh. So Lee is still poisoning the house with his decomposing soul. I want him to be gone. I hate the fact that he is still here. I hate the fact that we, the viewers, have to continue to deal with him for each episode. Like, it's so draining and depressing. Bachelorette or Bachelor, who's ever over this, we tune in because this is fun and cheesy and light. Lee is making this show so dark. Like, why did y'all choose to go this direction? Especially with the first Black Bachelorette. I feel some sort of way about this. So, Brian got the date rose. Just as long as it's not the final rose, I'm okay with it. You know what? I'm not surprised either because Brian has been consistently pursuing Rachel since he hopped up out of that limousine. Take notes, Iggy. Oh my gosh, I feel like I'm gonna have to check Kenny this episode too because Rachel gives Brian the first date rose and then Kenny makes this like shady, subliminal, petty toast to him and he's just like, oh, you didn't have to be a snake to do it, and just in his congratulating of Brian, he's dissing Lee, you know what I mean? And I'm not a fan of Lee. I don't like the dude, but honestly, I would have said something too if somebody had done some shady mess like that, you know? So Lee responds to Kenny and it just gets awkward and uncomfortable for all the guys. I feel so bad for Brian because he had this really, you know, high moment where he got the rose from Rachel, and then Kenny and Lee get into it, and when Kenny or Lee, whoever gets up, you can see like this little slow shot of Brian just sitting there, just looking so sad and depressed, and it's just like that. These two guys, whatever they are giving off, Lee is definitely responsible, but Kenny plays into it. It's just taking down the positive energy of the house and of this show. And I'm just kind of disappointed that our girl Rachel had to deal with this. I just feel like for this being the first Black Bachelorette, I would have liked to have had this not be the center of her season. You know what I mean? Like, why she got to deal with racism and like a racist white dude? Like, I don't know. It's just so unfair. So Rachel and Ted Bundy go on this one-on-one awkward date. Like, from the moment he was walking up to her, I was like, Rachel, you know this dude don't arouse you in any kind of way. No disrespect to Jack. You know what I mean? I just feel like him and Rachel just have no chemistry, and you can tell. It's very evident on the date. They go jiving and shucking, whatever this southern thing that they are doing. They go and do that, and it's just no chemistry. He's staring at her creepily, and she's like trying to force something with this guy, and it's just not working. They have no chemistry. The date is dry and bland. He's trying to be affectionate. Rachel is like uncomfortable with it. I'm uncomfortable watching it, and I really feel bad for him because it's just like, if you can hear like a rumbling, my friend also lives right next to a subway. Welcome to New York. Anyway, I feel bad for Jack because it's just like, I can see you taking an L on national TV. Poor dude. You know what? I finally realized what it is about Jack, aka Ted Bundy, that creeps me out. It's the fact that he has, his forehead doesn't move. Jack has Botox. Rachel got a ton of pretty boys on this show. Jack has Botox in his head, so nothing below his eyebrows move, and he has a creepy, like, Tom Cruise on Oprah Winfrey laugh. You know, it's really, it's just, it's not attractive. Oh, and then he goes in for a kiss, and Rachel's like ducking and dodging. Oh, child, my hair done got caught on the gym. Natural hair, unpredictable. Anyway, Rachel is like ducking and dodging this kiss, and he keeps on trying to like kiss her cheek. It's just, it's just weird. And then in his confessional, he's just like, that kiss was everything he dreamed of and that they were making this connection. And then he does like this creepy, like, gaze that I think he believes is sexy, but because he has Botox, it comes off very serial killerish because And this show is so shady because they picked up on it too, and they made him sit there with that creepy stare, and they held it and played that weird music under it, knowing good and well that he was going to look like he needed to be on like the ID check. I'm really feeling a connection with Rachel. Boy, what? Go home. So, also in this episode, Will, yes, has made himself like the mediator between Brian, or what's his name? Brian? No, Lee and Kenny. He's made himself the mediator because we have this scene where he's talking to Lee about how, basically calling Kenny aggressive. And the only thing I didn't like is that Will did not really, he kind of pussyfooted around the true subject at hand with Lee. And I guess he was probably trying to do that because he does consider him a friend, or he knows people are going to be watching him, so he's trying to be as PC as he can. But I wish he would have really just cut to the root of it and just told the truth. Anyway, he says that Kenny may feel some sort of way because Lee keeps labeling him aggressive, and that is a terminology that has been justified when causing harm towards black men. And then Lee says, oh, so he's the kind of guy that gets upset and plays the race card. And Will doesn't address that. And I was kind of disappointed. But, I'm not in that situation. I don't know, yes, the hell I would address it. But that's just who I am. You know what I mean? I can't expect for Lee, I'm calling this dude everything but what his name is. I can't expect for Will to do the same thing. I wish he would have, but he didn't. But I am glad that he at least made some attempt and put that on camera so that, the people who are viewing in who may not know that is now very aware that that is an issue. Not just with Kenny, with black people in general. Oh my gosh, Rachel and Ted Bundy are still on this freaking date. Anyway, now they're sitting down, they're eating, and they're having a one-on-one, and he's still, you're so pretty. Just being, that scowl. Brother, stop doing it to your forehead. Anyway, he's talking to her, and Rachel in her confessional, while this date is still going on at the same time, they like edited it in, and she's saying that she doesn't really feel anything. She doesn't really feel a spark. And I was really glad that she was honest about that right away. She was just like, I'm not feeling anything. I brought him on as one-on-one because I wanted to see where it could go, but I'm just not feeling anything. Then she says, what would you do if we were back in Tennessee? Like, I guess what kind of date that he would take her on. He says the most creepiest thing ever. He's just like, well, at first what I would do if I had you back in Tennessee, or wherever he's from, Texas, if I had you back in Texas, I would take you into my home, lock my doors, serial killer, move everything out of the house, probably moving everything off the damn floor so he could pull up them panels and show her where he buries the body, and that she gonna be next if she don't marry him. I'm just speculating. Then he says, oh, and then we're just gonna lay in bed all day and just talk. Wait a minute. First of all, how do you even know that Rachel is that kind of girl that the minute you get her back in Texas, she in your bed? Dude, please. You ain't got no money. Not saying that Rachel would do something strange for some change, but I'm just saying, how dare you assume that you got it like that to get her in your bed? Boy, bye. Lil Tom Cruise Bundy, you reaching, sis. You reaching. So after Ted Bundy describes how he's going to silence of the lambs her, Rachel picks up the rose, holds it in his face, tells him that there's no connection, and sends him packing. Now, like I said before, I just start watching the show, so I don't know if this is how they do it. Please let me know if this is something normal or if Rachel is being hella brutal. So I'm glad Rachel sent him home if she's not feeling him. However, I'm still mad about Fred. I don't think she should have sent Fred home, but I'm glad that she sent home Ted Bundy because he was creepy as hell. So it's the final rose ceremony, and Iggy all of a sudden realizes now that he should have spent more time focusing on Rachel than he did on the other dudes in the house. You think, Iggy? It's a little too late at this point. And then even at the rose ceremony, he tries to bust it up with Kenny and try to mend fences before Rachel hands out the roses. What are you doing? It's way beyond the time of doing that at this point. You have not made any effort to get to know the girl. And now all of a sudden you realize that they're about to send some dudes home. Now you're spinning the wheels and you're just like, well, I should have spent more time talking to her. Yeah, you should have. That's what you came on the show for. Bye. Eric gets the first rose. I don't know. I'm not saying I don't see it, but Rachel is really into him. For her to pick him first, that means that he's on her mind. Tell him that. Eric Sands, I hope you're listening and I hope you're watching this. Your boy got a problem. I already mentioned that he has a little emotional issue and y'all don't want to recognize that, but something is wrong with him. Get your little light skinny Idris Elba and have him start acting like a man and mature up. I don't have a problem with him being upset about certain things. I just have a problem the way he's expressing it as a grown man. That is my issue. Y'all keep on calling it passion, but all I see is him giving somebody a black eye. It's not a game. Y'all told me that I missed the dummy last episode, and I did not see him this episode. Was he anywhere in Norway or at the house? I don't remember seeing him, and I watched for him. Let me know in the comment section below if you saw the dummy, because I've been missing him, and I feel like every episode that I do not like, I don't see him. For good reason. You know what? Kenny needs to grow up also. That whole snake thing and him catching his hand, that's so childish. She got a lot of boyish men on this show. That's not a good quality to have in a husband. So I really feel like all these guys that are playing these little boy petty games are going to get cut. Rightfully so. And so at this rose ceremony, of course, the last two standing are Kenny and Lee, and Rachel gives her roses to Kenny and Lee because the producers have to keep this racism drama going on for however many episodes and getting on everybody's nerves. That part about it is I really felt bad for Tickle Monster, and of course I told you before I didn't see it for her and Tickle Monster, but I felt bad for him because he's just a really sweet guy, and it was just really sad to see him go until he tickled her. And that's when I was just like, yeah, you can go. She has a lot of men on the show who either live in their mother's basement or wears women's nipples as earrings. You know what I mean? Alex is fine. Okay, he is hella fine, and if he's not the next bachelor, he could be my bachelor. I am so not this forward. I don't know why when I do this review, I'm just like, oh my goodness, yes. Knowing good and well that if I see a guy that I like in person, I'm going to run the other way. That's why I'm still single. I'm a catch, but you got to be fast to catch me. Message. Rachel, you're taking Lee to Norway? Girl, really? Oh my goodness, you see how far evil can take you guys? Do you see this foolishness happening right now? So we finally get to Norway. I don't know why they chose Norway. I'm not saying it's not a beautiful place, but they chose Norway when it was freezing. I'm pretty sure they probably get like a spring or a summer. I don't know why they decided to go to Norway. Is it a place that Rachel wants to go? Did I miss this introduction into why they wanted to go to Norway? Anyway, when they get there, Rachel takes Brian out on a date, and oh my baby, Dean gets a little jealous. Look who's starting to catch feelings for an older woman. I also want to address this. I saw Refinery 29 wrote an article about how there's a double standards in age concerning The Bachelor and The Bachelorette, because of The Bachelor, Nick was like 30, he's 36, and he was 36 at the time, and he was dating one of the girls on the show was like 21 or 22 or something like that, and nobody batted an eye. And with Rachel, a lot of people were saying that the guys are too young for her and things of that nature. I'm not saying that, right? Age sometimes doesn't always come into factor when you're looking for a partner, like the age gap to a certain extent, right? I feel like once you get to a certain age, you're not really concerned about a few years, give or take a few years, men or women, you know what I mean? But I know there is definitely a double standard for women when we date younger men. I get that. When I make jokes about Rachel and Dean, I am not in any way pulling from that double standard. Honestly, when I say that Dean is just too young for her, I'm speaking of maturity. If you look at Sam, is his name Sam? Adam and That's So Raven's father, they are the same age as Dean, but they are very mature, and they just have an older and a more mature presence that I believe a woman is comfortable with in a man. We don't want to be a mom to our men. That's what I'm saying with the things with Rachel and Dean. I feel like he is, although he's the same age as Anthony, he is still so young and boyish in a lot of ways. Now with men, they don't mind being a daddy to their wives. We don't want to be a mom to our men. We're just not like that. Men are different. So that's why I guess that whole age gap thing in the whole double standard, whatever. I'm just saying I don't play into that. I'm normally just making a joke or an observation. And the observation is Dean is just very boyish, and I just don't think he's ready for a woman who is ready to be a wife and a mom and is of a different culture that he has never really been in a relationship with. So I just wanted to address that because I don't want anybody like writing down you know, that I'm playing into the age gap thing. Not saying that you guys would say that, but I'm starting to get a couple of black women who specifically date white men who have an issue with some of the things that I say concerning my protection of black men. Let me tell you something. When I am speaking about the issues with Lee and Kenny and how I do not like the fact that Rachel did not address that aggressive comment, I'm speaking about my people in general. I am not speaking black men and black women. We all black, okay? I'm not trying to separate one from the other. We both need each other and we both in this fight together. Whatever issues you have with black men, take it somewhere else, okay? And black men, whatever issues you have with black women, take it somewhere else. This is not the channel. I keep on trying to tell y'all that. This is not the channel for that. We are multicultural and we are funny over here. We are having a good laugh and a good little kiki. If you don't want to do that here, you can go somewhere else. And that's the last time I'm going to address you. I'm just going to start blocking and praying for y'all. Stay woke. And don't get cut. Because I'm from Philly. So Rachel in this date with Brian, is it me or does Rachel take the men in the house that she is really feeling on death-defying dates? She almost killed Dean in the blimp. Now she's taking Brian on this repelling adventure off of some sculpture or whatever. I could have understood that Brian is just like, you know what? Can we do something else? You know, and I would hope that Rachel wouldn't think any less of him because that was honestly ridiculous. However, and this is how he got her. When they were rappelling down this sculpture or whatever, Brian was nervous, but she never showed it to Rachel. And even when they were halfway down, he was like, kiss me. She's like, no, I can't, I'm scared. And he was like, no, come on, let's do it. And he like pulls her in and kisses her, and Rachel just melts all over again. And I did, you know, a little bit too, because that is very like attractive and sexy to like be repelling down, you know, some sculpture and you're terrified and the man that you're repelling with just says, come and kiss me. You know, like not even worried about like the height or anything, or just, I don't know. Man, I mean, I can understand why Rachel likes him. From day one, when he got out that limo speaking Spanish and pulled her in and all that stuff, he got swag. He's swag. He is Rico Suave of this show. I still don't think he's right for her. At this point, I don't know if he's a husband or a whole trip hookup. You know what I mean? So while Rachel's on her date with Brian, we cut back to the Norway house and Eric is sitting down with That's So Raven's dad. And do you know what he says? Oh, well, I just don't think that Rachel is into brothers. Eric supporters, if you're still watching this, please come close. I was right. Your boy is trash. I've been told y'all that. He has a problem. There is something not right with this dude. And I'm not trying to say that he's crazy or whatever, but he's just not mature. He's just not ready. I said it before when he was trying to make it seem like she was all of a sudden, because Rachel wasn't showing him that she was really into him, she's playing games. Before it was she's playing games. Now it's not that she's playing games anymore, because you don't get hickeys on your neck when you're meeting with her. All of a sudden, oh, she may not be into brothers. Yet she was sucking face with That's So Raven's dad for a whole damn day. Boy, bye. You gotta do better. I don't know what to call it or what it is, but this is how I feel about Eric. He reminds me of those guys who comment on those pickup artist comment sections and like blames women for them not getting dates or getting sex. They feel like everything of a woman is owed to them, that they don't have to do any work, that there's no type of onus on their part to do anything to make this attraction pop off. Or, you know, even if you're just attracted to somebody, there still is work that has to be done to even see if you're compatible. He's too caught up in himself that he's not even realizing that he's not doing enough. Those white guys are going in for kisses, okay? And Brian is Colombian. Do they got white people down there? I don't know. But all I'm saying is they are making the effort, okay? What are you doing? They had, but Peter, when they was playing that handball or whatever, he was all over Rachel. He was making an effort. Eric is just still stuck on holding the ball. You know what I mean? You're not putting in the work, but yet you're blaming Rachel for you guys not having more time or a connection. Boy, get out of here. And I'm really sad that there are women okaying that kind of behavior. That is dangerous and unhealthy. Y'all got to get higher standards. Know your worth. Offended a man with an ID channel personality. Y'all better stop. Rachel on her little date with Brian. Girl, that eyeshadow. gorgeous. I want it. And you know what? I honestly think it's Pat McGrath. If anybody, you know what, that's a reach. But you know what? You never know until you ask. If anybody knows what eyeshadow that is that Rachel had on in her date with Brian, that gold eyeshadow, let a sister know, because that looked fabulous on her. And I can only imagine what it's going to look like on me, darling. So I don't know if there's hope for Peter. I really, really want there to be, but Rachel has such a strong sexual attraction with Brian, and I don't know if she has it that strong with any. I haven't really seen it, but when she gets with Brian, they are just, their bodies are just like in sync. It's like a samba going on with the both of them. So I don't know how to samba, but this is oh, I crack myself up. I'm hilarious. Subscribe. But I don't know what it is, but there's just such a strong attraction. But she did mention it, that besides that, she doesn't know if, she still is not quite sure about him, because she doesn't know if he's kicking some game or whatever, because he is so sly, you know what I mean? And not sly in a bad way. He's just very charming. He knows how to talk. He got that swag. I told y'all before, swag is kryptonite for black women. We can't get ourselves together when a dude start busting that out of any culture. We're just like, oh my goodness, what is going on? Suddenly I want to be with him and have his babies. He ain't got no job. He's terrible to everybody. His Facebook, y'all supposed to be in a relationship. He say it's complicated. Then other days he's single, but you still want to be with this dude because of the swag. I've been there before. My life was almost destroyed. God brought me back. Hallelujah. Get free, Rachel. Get free. So after her one-on-one date with Brian, Rachel takes the remainder guys out for this like Norwegian game of handball. And this was actually a really, really cute scene. But the only reason why I'm talking about it is because Josiah was such a standout for me. His confessionals are so hilarious. And I think that's why the producers had him do an entire confessional alongside the game. Like, so while the guys were playing the game, you were getting a confessional from Josiah, and it was absolutely hilarious, especially when he was talking about how Peter was all over him and how Peter had Rachel's behind. And then the camera shoots to Rachel with her legs open and butt in the air. You're not gonna pick you, Josiah, but you're good TV. You're good TV. Then we come back to the house, and Kenny is sitting there talking to his daughter, and you know, it was a really sweet moment. Kenny's daughter, I must say, she looks just like her father. Beautiful girl, and I love their relationship. And then Kenny starts all this Black Baptist funeral crying because he misses his daughter so much. Sweet. So sweet. So during the handball game, Will must have been looking right and tight. He was. Rachel decides to pick him for a one-on-one game. Game of balls. Let me stop. Rachel decides to pick him for their one-on-one date. And it was really, really sweet. They got to know each other a little bit better. And then he goes in for like this really romantic kiss. And I was really excited. I don't know if I have him in my top 5. I have to check that Bachelor ABC game. Is anybody playing that? I just decided to start playing it because I got really into this show early on. But I don't know if I had him in my top 5. I hope I can revise it because I feel like he may go far, because him and Rachel, I like seeing them together. They seem like they fit for me. And I was surprised because we did not get a lot of camera time of him in the beginning. And now I guess that the men are thinning down, we're able to see more of him. And I like it. I like Will and Rachel, or Will and Nikki. I'm not this forward. Lord knows that if I see him in person, running the other way. Okay, so Josiah was a top pick for me early on. Now he is starting to fade fast. I don't even have him in my top 5 anymore. And not because I don't think because he's so much like Rachel, because I did mention that before, but I still felt like he had a shot. But in his one-on-ones with Rachel, they are so creepy. He's not listening to her. He's trying to kick this player game, which I don't think that he has. I don't feel like Rachel knows who he is. I don't feel like he presented that. I feel like he's presenting this type of guy that he thinks that she would be attracted to, instead of just being himself. And that could come from a lot of insecurities that maybe he had growing up. But I really feel like if maybe Josiah just shows Rachel who he really is, she might not feel that way, because I felt like he was just, it was weird. Like in their one-on-one, he's like trying to rub her shoulder, and you're so perfect. You're so this. Oh, my dad said that when he saw my mom, the Lord told him that she would be his wife. And you know, I gotta say that I feel the same way about you. It's just weird, awkward game that does not seem normal for him, and I hope that he drops the facade and Rachel can see who he is, but I don't think that he'll be able to do that in enough time to stay here. So baby, I take back everything I said about Rachel not really being into Peter because of Brian, because let me tell you something, Rachel and Peter went on this little one-on-one, and I always felt like she felt something for him and they had like some sort of connection, but I didn't feel like she had such a strong sexual attraction with any other guys in the house that she has with Brian. This hot tub scene changed my mind. So Rachel and Brian just get like a quick one-on-one that she normally gives like the group date guys, and can I tell you, they are sitting there and chatting, busting it up, you know what I mean, just having a really good time. And then he looks outside, he's like, can we go out on the balcony? And she's like, sure. And then they start kissing and he wants to stop, but our hot behind girl Rachel is just like, oh no, let's keep it going. He's just like, no, there's so much more ground to cover. And she's like, let's cover it in the hot tub. So they get in the hot tub, and can I tell you, I just was not expecting to see this on ABC. Rachel was sitting on top of him riding. She was riding Peter in a hot tub on ABC, and he was rubbing and caressing her back, and she was rocking them big hips. I was just like, this is inappropriate. But go ahead, girl. Do it. Ray was in that hot tub and them interracial juices was flowing. I was not ready, Rachel. I was not ready. But Rachel is always ready, okay? She stays ready so she don't ever have to get ready. After Rachel had this whole like hot tub scene with Peter, we all thought, and Peter thought too, that he was getting the rose, but she actually gave it to Will, who was becoming a top contender. I told y'all, I like them together. Oh my gosh, I feel like my top is just going to continue to change every episode because she's starting to spend more time with these dudes and she's starting to have like connections now. And I'm feeling this couple. So then we get this racism showdown between Kenny and Lee. And the only thing I can really say about this is that Kenny has got to stop looking dusty. He was looking dusty on this entire date. I mean, he just looked like he needed a good scrubbing, and his lips have been chapped since day one. Brother, Carmax, Burt's Bees, MAC shiny lip gloss, something. You cannot be on national TV with dead skin hanging on your lips and then wonder why Rachel don't want to kiss you. She don't want to cut her lip. And again, why are they in Norway? Because the black people are freezing. Rachel and Kenny are on this date and they can't even talk. Their teeth are chattering. You know, Rachel, her shoulders are shaking. Kenny is shivering. Lips are getting chapped every second. I feel like they're about to fall off at some point. Lee is sitting there chilling like he's in the Bahamas. He's not Stanley and his there's something about Mary here, because he is sitting up there literally lying to Rachel just to get under Kenny's skin. And now at this point, I'm starting to think that there is something more. There is something going on with Lee, that there is something deeper with him than the whole, I don't even think it's a racism thing at this point. I feel like Lee is really, I feel like he's attracted to Kenny. He has like some kind of fantasy that he really wants to be with him, but because of probably his religion and where he grew up and where he comes from, he can't really act out on that, because there is no way that a straight dude has this much attention for another man that it becomes so sinister. I'm so disappointed that Kenny keeps on playing into Lee's hand. Like, Lee's calling him aggressive. Kenny's not aggressive, but Lee is doing things to make even the most non-aggressive person appear aggressive. And I just really wish that he was old enough and wise enough. I mean, he's old enough in age, but he's just not, he just doesn't have that wisdom to realize that he's being played by this dude. He doesn't see it, and he keeps on playing into it, because even when Rachel tells Kenny what Lee said, Kenny just goes berserk. Oh, you're a liar. He's walking up to him. Oh, you're a liar. Like acting crazy. And I'm just like, Kenny, man, stop playing into that foolishness. Why can't you see what he's doing? And Rachel, why can't you see what Lee is doing? Maybe they all know and they just playing meat. So that's where the episode ends. The episode ends with this faux racism showdown. Kenny and Lee are just being played back and forth. They're just playing off the top of each other. And at this point, I don't even know if they're both really here for Rachel or if they're just here to both be plants at this point, because I just can't believe that Kenny keeps on playing into this. So I'm questioning his motives as well and his casting. Anyway, I'm just so over this. I really hope that the next episode, tomorrow's episode, is the last time we have to deal with this. I want to get back to the dating. I want to get back with the fun. I'm so sick of Kenny and Lee. They can both go, in my opinion. I really hate that the first Black Bachelorette has to deal with this. Like I said before, and I'll keep on saying it, Rachel deserves better. Kitty deserves better. Racism is freaking trauma. It's not something that should be used as a ratings grab. And I feel very unfortunate for the people who are being brought into this storyline, because it's uncomfortable to watch, especially as a Black person. It's really uncomfortable to watch, and that's sad, because I really like this show, and I'm gonna stick with it, because I'm hoping and praying that Kenny and Lee are going and we can get back to what it was, I get, at least for me, in the beginning. That's my review. It was a little lighter this time because we had less of the Antobomb slavery storyline, and we just had more of a fun, Rachel falling in love kind of episode, which is what I believe we all tune in for. So I will see you all tomorrow for the following episode. And if you like what you see here, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. And I will see you tomorrow for the following episode of The Bachelorette. That's our girl. That's our girl. Won't you subscribe? Hey. I should have planned that out a little better. That was a little corny, right? Who cares? Subscribe.